Hi, my name is Phil Hardt. I want to tell you about some 3 hugely successful humanitarian trips to a little town in Colombia, South America named Juan de Acosta. Juan de Acosta is unique because it has the distinction of having the second highest concentration of people with Huntington's disease in the world. And Huntington's disease is a fatal degenerative brain disorder which robs the individual of their ability to walk, talk, and even think. And there is no cure for Huntington's disease as of yet. I've also had the privilege of testifying at the National Institutes of Health in 2004 regarding flagrant genetic discrimination that happens to people with Huntington's disease. I was also the executive director of the Huntington's Disease Society of America, Arizona affiliate, for 8 years, and I had the privilege of conducting and directing 6 of the Arizona Huntington's and juvenile Huntington's retreats. And I have written dozens of articles on living positively with Huntington's disease. How the trips to Colombia came about was quite interesting. A friend of mine, Clara Girlado, contacted me and told me that people with Huntington's disease in Colombia, especially in Juan de Acosta, were being put into jails. This enraged me, to be truthful with you, and I had a desire from that point on to go to Colombia and to investigate her claims of people being locked up on a routine basis who had Huntington's disease. We had 3 humanitarian missions. The first one was in 2006, we had a second one in 2007, and the third one was just last November in 2008. Anyway, a little bit about what we accomplished on these missions. The first mission was an investigatory one where I went to see what kind of conditions the people were living under. Extreme poverty. The average family only made about $40 a month. And some of the families, unfortunately, were trying to not only care for themselves, but also care for other family members who were also living with this devastating Huntington's disease and trying to take care of not only their own families, but also brothers and sisters who were inflicted too. So the first year was pretty much investigatory, but one of the things that I decided after the first year was that the people not only needed information on Huntington's disease, on family planning, on how Huntington's was inherited, and stuff like that, but they also needed different things like their basic necessities cared for, and I saw a dire need for a medical doctor because none of the people there were going to see medical doctors because they couldn't afford it. And so it was at this time that I asked a friend, Dr. Luis Velazquez, if he would accompany me, if he would volunteer to come down and actually perform free medical examinations on all of the people down there living in Juan de Acosta, Colombia, who needed examinations. And this he agreed to do. And I was very, very thankful for him. I don't know what I would have done without him and his expertise, not only on the Spanish language, but also on Spanish customs. And Dr. Velazquez helped me oversee several families being hooked up to potable water. There was Candida's family and also Leo's family, their brother and sister. We were able to hook them up to potable water, run piping to their homes. It was just incredible the next year after we returned to see their barren landscapes transformed into basically a Garden of Eden with all kinds of fruits and vegetables growing to provide for themselves. In the beginning, you've all heard the saying of, if you give the boy a fish, you'll feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. And in the beginning, I was probably putting out fires, giving people money to purchase things and all of that, but we recognized early on that for long term, we really needed to prepare people, to provide them with the information, with medical information, with information on Huntington's disease, with information on how to care for themselves, and all in Spanish too. And Dr. Velazquez was a tremendous help in providing translation for me. He also became very excellent at explaining Huntington's disease and explaining how it was inherited to everybody. We borrowed flip charts on sex education from the University of Antigua in Medellin, and we used these to actually have one-on-one sessions with everybody to help them, because part of the problem, since every child of an affected parent has a 50-50 chance of inheriting this devastating disease, we felt like everybody was just having children and had no idea of the potential consequences. So in addition to Dr. Velazquez conducting individual family planning sessions with hundreds of people, after which he would explain how to use contraceptives or birth control pills correctly, and then we, because of donations, we had the privilege of giving them a year's worth of whichever birth control method that they preferred. Dr. Velazquez also performed gynecological examinations. He also, once people found out that there was a doctor there, it really didn't matter if they were there, if he was there helping those with Huntington's and those who were at risk for Huntington's. The entire community began coming to us, and he began giving examinations, it seemed like, every place that we went. He also performed in-service for doctors and nurses at a local clinic. We gave them information that we had brought down on Huntington's disease, and Dr. Velazquez provided all of the doctors and nurses with essential information on Huntington's disease and the symptoms of it and how it was inherited, so that these doctors and nurses, once we returned to the U.S., could better care for those families living in that area who had Huntington's disease. Anyway, his service to the people in Juan de Acosta, Colombia, was just tremendous. It was invaluable, in my opinion, and in their opinion. The people there definitely, after we left, had a higher quality of living and were able to care for themselves better. One of the books that we took in Spanish was Basic First Aid, Basic Gardening, Basic Self-Reliance. And he explained these various principles to every family that we saw. So it was a privilege to work side by side with him, to see his love for these people and his determination to help them and to educate them. And all in all, when we finished, I believe that we both had a deeper love and appreciation for everything that they were having to go through, and we were just grateful that we could help them achieve and obtain a little bit higher standard of living than what they had before we got there.